Welcome back to the podcast, Heal Without Harm. My name is Dr. Clayton Dir, physical therapist and the one bringing you the truth about the healthcare system. Today's topic is heel pain, especially this plantar fasciitis stuff. It's one of the most common reasons people limp into a physical therapist's office, believe it or not. Today I've got Dr. Allison Bollinger. She's a PT here in our clinic. She specializes in this condition, along with runners as well. We're going to answer the exact questions patients ask us, whether it be on social media, in person, or simply the texts that I receive on my personal phone. Let's just get into it. Dr. Allison, thanks for jumping on with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Let's go straight into it, and we'll use a real life text message that I received from an anonymous human. They texted me and they said, "Hey, I've had heel pain for like 4 to 6 months. I've tried stretches I found online. I lost some weight, bought arch supports, took steroids, anti-inflammatories, and now I'm even considering an injection. What in the world do I do?" What do you say to this person?
The first thing I say to the person is that I'm sorry you've tried so many things, because it's not like they're just letting it happen, right? They're trying things and taking advice from people or other healthcare practitioners. But I'll also tell them I almost always start with the fact that maybe only 5% of the people that walk into my clinic thinking they have plantar fasciitis actually have it. There are so many different conditions that can mimic heel pain or bottom of the foot pain. Dr. Google and other people always blame it on the plantar fascia if you have any kind of pain in your heel or bottom of the foot. But we have to think about it can be, for instance, just like where the plantar fascia attaches on your heel, your tendon that attaches to your big, powerful calf muscle also attaches in a similar spot. So it could just be a tendinitis of the calf muscles. It could just be a little nerve entrapment. If those calf muscles are tight and pinching on a nerve, it can refer pain down into the heel. In our growing children, it could be something called Sever's disease. In all of our muscles have referred pain patterns. So if we think of like a man's having a heart attack and his left arm hurts, nothing's wrong with his left arm, but that heart muscle is sending out signals like, hey, somebody come help me. All of our skeletal muscles refer pain as well. There's a couple big muscles up in the calf area that refer pain directly to the heel that mimics plantar fascia pain. So I always like to start and tell people like, hey, the reason all this stuff might not be working is because you don't actually have plantar fasciitis. So the injections in the bottom of your foot didn't help because that's not where the problem is. The arch supports for your foot also didn't help because that's not where the problem is. But yeah, that's where I start.
So I have so many questions because honestly, y'all, the thing is a lot of injuries that people show up with here, Dr. Google sometimes does direct people in the right spot, but most of the time it kind of takes you off in this weird, incorrect direction. And one of them that you spoke on that this person asked about was special shoes, orthotics. I've had some people pay $180 for flip-flops that are supposed to like cure their, heel pain. I've had people spend $600 on orthotics. Do they work? Are they needed? Do you ever prescribe them or give them out? If you do, why? Like, what do we need to know about orthotics and these crazy shoes?
I almost never have people go and do that right off the bat. If anything, the reason they help, and if they help, it's usually only temporarily, is because it just changes the pressure points on your foot and what tissues are accepting the load. But it's not actually solving your problem in any capacity. It's just putting a Band-Aid on your systems and adjusting and making different tissues carry the load of walking or doing whatever you're doing. And so if somebody has orthotics already, or if they want to go get them, I always encourage them for it to be a temporary thing that we slowly work our way out of, because your foot should be able to handle walking around in any kind of shoe without pain, within reason, right? And so they can be a Band-Aid temporarily, but they're not actually going to solve your problem, whether it's plantar fasciitis or another issue causing your heel pain.
What do you think caused my heel pain, or why do people develop heel pain?
That is such a nuanced question. And it's something that like the person sitting across from me, I would ask a lot more questions, right? Because pain is not straightforward for anybody. There are so many factors. If I could tell every person that walks in the door, like, this is exactly the moment you developed pain, the reason you caused pain, I would be a millionaire and I wouldn't even have to see patients in the clinic anymore. But it's nuanced, right? There's so many things that affect pain. In general, an injury occurs because the load we placed on our tissues exceeded our tissue's capacity at that time. Now, the things that tissue capacity, so how well our calves or our heel or whatever can handle load, changes throughout time based off a lot of things. Our emotional stress can change our body's capacity to handle load at a moment. Our hydration levels, our sleep levels, if we've been sick recently, all of these things affect it. And it's usually kind of a perfect storm of things where we just did too much. It set off our pain signal or our nervous system, alarm system of pain. Or it's gradually occurred where we've slowly put more or too much load on this tendon or these tissues for a long time. And it's finally added up where it's reached the point where now we have actual inflammation or injury of these tissues. But it's a very nuanced question that I wish I had an exact answer for.
So if you talk about inflammation, why did the steroids or the anti-inflammatories not just solve my problem, do you think?
A couple reasons. Number one, if it did not solve your problem, it's either because you didn't actually have plantar fasciitis, and so the shot was in the wrong spot in the first place, so it's not going to cut where your actual inflammation is. That can be one thing. Another thing is, even if they put it in the right spot or you do get relief from it, it's probably only going to be temporary. Because if you don't actually go and reload these tissues, strengthen them, rebuild them, you're going to end up in a painful cycle where it's a lot of people will get a steroid shot every 3 to 6 months for years, right? Most of my people that come in with heel pain have been on and off for years or months. And so it's either in the wrong spot, so it's not going to change your pain, or even if it's in an actual inflamed area of your body, it's, again, just a Band-Aid where it cuts down the inflammation, kind of numbs our pain signals, but we don't actually rebuild the tissues and make them stronger over time to keep this stuff away.
Hey, it's Clayton. Quick mid-show favor. If this episode's got you nodding along or saying, that's interesting, do me a solid. Leave me a review or send it to that one friend who needs to hear it. You'll make my day and maybe save them from another bad doctor's visit. Thank you. Let's get back to the episode. So you keep saying it's these tissues. If I'm supposed to do something about it, a lot of people say stretch the calf, roll on a water bottle, roll on a golf ball, freeze a soda can, and then roll on that. Is that going to help? Should I do more stretching or should I do more rolling and break up adhesions or something?
Great question. It can help, again, temporarily, just bringing blood flow to the area and relaxing the tissues a little bit. But at the end of the day, if we don't go in and actually strengthen or load these muscles, tendons, that's what I mean when I keep saying tissues, then it's going to keep coming back. You're going to end up in a cycle. And so a lot of times a muscle feels tight, and so people think they just need to stretch it to death, and that's going to be the solve. But a lot of times tightness is actually weakness in disguise, right? If my calf muscle is weak or has been overworked, my brain knows that it's supposed to provide stability, and so it's going to tighten down in an attempt to provide stability. And so what we like the analogy, a well-trained dog gets a longer leash. So if you go out and actually strengthen these muscles, your brain's like, oh, I actually am strong enough to get out of end range. So like the dog gets a longer leash, your body's going to allow those muscles to go through greater ranges of motion. It won't feel as tight, those kinds of things. So actually strengthening the muscles is going to be a solve. And then if it's a tendonitis, which is inflammation of the tendon, which attaches the muscle to the bone on the heel, that takes a lot of time, and tendons heal well with what we call time under tension. So extended periods of load or strengthening, making that muscle and tendon actually work versus just stretching it over and over again.
Okay, so I know the name of the game in regards of PT and people's injuries is always it depends. But if there's one thing that someone could get done with this podcast and they say, okay, I'm going to implement this one thing that Google didn't tell me. You tell me rolling sometimes helps, icing sometimes helps, stretching sometimes helps. What is one thing that you think will catch most people on helping them at least take the edge off today?
I would say start with some calf isometrics, which just means turning on that calf muscle, making it work, and holding. So if you go and stand on your staircase, if you have stairs at home, stand on the bottom step so you don't fall down it. But go up on your tiptoes and just hold. Set a timer. Hold there for a solid minute. Your calves will be tired by the end. It might reproduce some of the pain in your heel. But making these tissues work for a long period of time is going to be kind of the low-hanging fruit for a lot of these different diagnoses that can all mimic the same kind of heel pain.
So just to paint the picture, is this person standing with their heels just hanging off, or are they standing with their heels as high as they can, almost like they're in high heels or something like that?
The second one. So heels as high as they can, you're up on your toes, your calf muscles should be working.
if I have pain in only my left one or only my right one, just one of them are in pain, should I do this on one foot or should I do this on both feet? What does that look like?
I would start on both feet, see how your tolerance is. If it seems easy on 2 feet, then you can shift and do a single leg hold. But starting with 2 feet, once that's easy, progress to holding on a single foot up on your toes.
That sounds good. The last thing that I want to ask that I had a couple people ask about is why does it hurt first thing in the morning? Why is that like the worst? Why is that the tail sign of, quote, plantar fasciitis?
For a lot of people, I think it just has to do with the fact that you've been inactive for a long time throughout the night, right? And so most people report that it's worse first thing in the morning, or it's worse after, say, sitting at their desk for 4 hours and they stand up to go to the bathroom at lunch. And so in general, these muscles and tendons like blood flow and like movement. So you've been sleeping all night long, sedentary, your foot, your calf, all of these things have not been moving at all. And so they're going to be a little bit tighter. And it just takes, after the first few steps, people say it gets a lot better already. Just getting these tissues moving, loaded, getting blood flow through them helps this stuff feel better.
So just to wrap up, it sounds like most plantar fasciitis isn't really plantar fasciitis. It sounds like injections, oral meds like ibuprofen, Tylenol, and sometimes even steroids aren't super helpful. And it seems like strength is the issue. Would you agree with all that so far?
In a quick summary, yeah.
Is there any other points that you notice that you're answering the same question all the time, or you just see as a common myth that we haven't covered that you would like to clear up for people?
The only other thing that I would say too is a lot of people, when they're doing these strengthening exercises, think that it shouldn't be bothersome or uncomfortable at all. And a lot of times with some of this tendonitis or foot stuff, there'll be a little bit of discomfort in your heel while you're strengthening at the beginning. We don't want it super intense though, but if if we have a pain scale 0 to 10 and your pain's between a 0 to 3, you get a green light. We're going to keep working and loading through that. Because a lot of people will say, well, those exercises caused me a little bit of pain, so I've just rested the rest of the week. That's not getting us anywhere closer to the goal. We have to find that good zone of loading you enough, which might be some low-level discomfort, but not pushing it too far to irritate you. And so just know that with this stuff, there's commonly a little bit of discomfort as you're starting to strengthen. And that's normal. And unfortunately, part of the name of the game with this diagnosis.
That's fair. So if you are listening here, you probably clicked on this for a reason. Either one, you just follow the podcast, or two, you want to get your heel pain cleared up. Honestly, reach out to me. Reach out to us here at Natural Wellness Physiotherapy. If you are listening now and you want to go ahead and just take that first step, LOL, I always love puns. If you want to take that first step into getting evaluated, coming in and seeing any of us here, or specifically Dr. Allison, your first visit will be half off. All you have to do is just mention that you listen to this podcast. I will put a link down below to get that taken care of. And if you're someone who is not here locally, please reach out to me. I usually know a PT within an hour of you that can help with this. So Dr. Allison, thank you for coming on, clearing up some of these things and helping all the people in the world heal their heel pain.
Thanks for having me, Dr. Clayton.
We'll see you later, guys. Hopefully today you learned a little bit more how to heal without harm. Thanks.